This is where I make a professor of ancient Egypt either look silly or a misinformation person. Okay, this was a TV series called The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egyptians. I watched it a few years back when it was on TV, and I thought, oh my god, they got so many things wrong, this can't be right. So let's have a look and dissect.
Good luck!
Shukran kazeelan.
The Great Pyramid of Giza, final resting place of King Khufu.
Okay, wrong. There was no body found there, so she can't be 100% say that that's correct. Also, no bodies were found in any pyramids because no pyramid was a tomb. Tombs are tombs, pyramids are pyramids. So I did some research and I thought, let's see who she was, and that's her there. So then I went and looked at where she was, University of College of London. It turns out, those of you that know my videos, if you don't, go back and watch from video 1 onwards, but the Rockefellers play a big part in misinformation. This is the granite box inside the King's Chamber, inside the Great Pyramid. Now, I'm just following on from the last video where the woman was saying that the last resting place of Khufu. Now, if this was Khufu's last resting place, it would have had, as a sarcophagus or a box, it would have been ornate. It would have had the most wonderful carvings on it. All of them have something on them except for this one, and that's because there was no lid. And why is there no lid? Because it wasn't a sarcophagus, it wasn't a resting place, it was used for something else, which I've mentioned in my previous videos. So this is actually a tomb. Have a look. Compared to what we just saw a second ago, which was an empty room. Look, these are all different tombs, and they're all adorned with drawings, carvings, all sorts of stuff, compared to that. So I think we can safely say, let's meet Thoth. He was an Egyptian deity. Now, he was actually an Anunnaki, and we can tell that from the emerald tablets that he wrote, where he talks about standing amongst the little humans. Now, we know that the Anunnaki are between 8 to 12 foot tall, so that would make sense that he was an Anunnaki. Plus, he lived a lot longer. He also said he lived a lot longer than these humans. Now, Thoth was quite important because he was very interested in the afterlife, and so when I go through these videos, I'll be talking about him and what he could see, what he wrote down about the afterlife. You'll notice that a lot of these Egyptians have got head masks, and this is because if you watch my other videos, you'll see that the Anunnaki gave an eagle mask for a job well done, and they also gave wings for their feet. So this is just a continuation on from the ancient older times with giving away. Okay, I'm going to show you this carving here, and I'll let a professor who worked for a place where the Rockefellers funded, but regardless of that, and then I'll tell you my version of what I think this is compared to her version.
We know that in the very earliest times, their gods resembled familiar things, the world around them, elements of nature, and certainly animals. And over time, the animals, their forms, their shapes, their characteristics were distilled down into this sort of divine figure. Their characteristics distilled down into this divine... She has not a clue. Okay, so, because the problem is she's only learnt, unfortunately badly, from universities, etc., ancient history of Egypt, whereas I have learnt a lot more from all over, and having a wider picture explains a lot more than just her talking about Egypt. So I'll explain why. So she's saying that this basically divine, we waffle what she's just said, as you agree, I'm hoping. So look here, so this is connected to the head. Now the head is really important in Mesopotamia and Sumer as well. So this, if you watch my other videos, would be a ram, and that would be the constellation of this deity, not what she said, which was a load of rubbish. Now I can prove that because Marduk, who was Ra in Egypt, has this sacred bull, which his star sign, as written in the ancient tablets, is a bull. And this would be the sun disc that's on the top of his head, because Ra, Marduk, Ra was the sun god. And just to show you the depiction there of the sun on top of the head. So as you see, if you go back and not just follow
one train of thought. If you do what I do and research everything, it makes so much more sense than what she just, I don't even know what she was on about. So there you go. This is why you should be watching me and subscribing. Thanks. This is where I make this Professor, Dr. Joan Fletcher, look a bit silly again. Now listen to what she says in her programme about ancient Egypt, these carvings.
Some experts even believe these symbols can be vocalised. By turning the simple drawings into sounds, makes this the world's earliest known writing.
Okay, this is... She went to university, really, and she didn't even know about the Sumerian language, which actually came first. Now, this comment here is in Forbes, and they're saying that there may have been a vocal language in Africa, but of course no one's got any proof of that, because you can't... No one had tape recorders. So basically, then they're saying, well, we're not sure if it's Egyptian or Sumerian, but if you read the Sumerian tablets, which are older, and actually talk about how Egypt was built and stuff before Egypt.